Dear Elijah and Elena, there are times when you will need to go with the team, and there are times when you will need to not go with the team. So let's break that down a little bit. When I mean go with the team, there can be times when, let's say, you are playing a sport, which maybe one day you all will, or martial arts, or Elena, you and your mom have gotten into dance recently. It may be that the team is wanting to go direction in the sense that, let's say, they're wanting to try a new exercise or a new routine or something that could benefit the team to make the team win more games or whatever, matches or whatever it may be. Then sometimes, even if it's something that you may not be overly fond of, if it's not, as the old saying goes, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So it may be that you want to try to, that exercise, that new routine, that new practice, that new whatever the team is trying to do to get the team better. And many times too, sometimes if I still have time with you, the older you get, I'll show you different, movies and shows and stuff to think about, that may help. Think about different things. So, for example, there's when you all get older, I would encourage you all to watch a television series that is called, I cannot believe I'm all of a sudden forgetting the name of it. But anyway, if I remember it, I'll think, Band of Brothers. It was one of my favorite television series. But I like to say movie like really because, but it's not a movie. It was a television series. But anyway, in one episode, I think it was the very first episode, there was a team of men, and they had all kind of met. This is the very beginning of World War II, and they were in I think it's Toccoa, Georgia. So they were going through boot camp or whatever, and they had a drill sergeant who they really didn't like. He was not the most moral man either, but he was a little bit abusive, and maybe some drill sergeants are, I don't know. But he would set them up to fail in a sense, fail in one sense and succeed in another sense. He's really making them really good as soldiers, but if they were, thinking that they were going to have the chance to get off that weekend, he would do something to kind of mess them up and then try to put it off on somebody else like it was that person's fault. So anyway, the whole point, but I don't want to make that too long. The whole point being is that what he, one time in this beginning episode, he tried to blame kind of like one of his second in commands, the guy who would ultimately be really respected amongst that company of soldiers. And he had the men like eat a bunch of food, and then he said, okay, we're going on a 2-mile, 3-mile run, which they weren't expecting. They were, they're in the middle of eating. So imagine eating food and then trying to jump up and go run afterwards. So you can imagine the next scene, all these, not all of them, but a lot of guys were in pain trying to run because they're just eating. And some of them were vomiting. And the second in command really didn't have to go on that run, right? But that was his team, okay? One day he would be their actual leader. And they respected him all the more for it in the long run. But what happened was that he didn't have to go on that run, and he did anyway. So while they were running up there in pain, vomiting, sweating profusely, he was running right along with them. So then he gained their respect. And so that's kind of something I want you all to think about. Sometimes when the team wants to go a certain route or do something, or they have to do something rather, right? They're being punished for it, and you aren't necessarily being punished for it. Sometimes it's best for you to go ahead and join in with them on their punishment. They may respect you in the long run. Now, here's another thing to that. Okay, this is where I said before that sometimes the direction of the team, you should not follow their direction they're going. Is really check your heart, your spirit, your gut. If you feel like something is immoral, or wrong, stand up for yourself, speak up for yourself, and don't go that route. But think about it at the same time, because I'm not telling you to ever do anything wrong. But the thing is to remember that sometimes, or in those times that you choose to go opposite of the team, there can be other consequences. Sometimes people, when people didn't go along with the crowd or the team, they were abused. People that were in the team that wanted the team to go to a certain direction were abusive to those persons who did not go in the direction that the team wanted to go in. So that's another thing to think about. You shouldn't do everything that the team is doing. If, like I said before, you know in your heart, your mind, spirit, whatever, that you feel it is wrong, right? At the same time, just remember, right? It's kind of like, trying to remember too that you should always try to do good, but know that you won't always be rewarded for doing good. You won't always be patted on your back for doing good. You won't always have actual positive. Not every consequence is positive for doing good, right? Sometimes you can be nice to people and they might be rude back to you. That's just the way things are. That's the way they are, or what have you. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't do good. So in that same aspect, sometimes you don't go with the team because you're doing the right thing. There are consequences for that that may not always be beneficial to you. So remember that. There are some times when you should go with the team, and there are some times when you should not go with the team. Just know that the consequences may vary. Something to think about.